The trade deadline has ended. Players have changed. Teams have changed for the better or the worse. But I'll tell you one thing that hasn't changed. The YouTube World Champion. I haven't changed. I am still great. But I'm going to put the championship to the side. Because we're going to talk about the trade deadline. And we're going to get through all the trades. And I'm going to tell you, not Bleacher Report, not ESPN, not NBA.com, not CBSSports.com, NBCSports.com. You get the point. I'm going to tell you whether it was the right move or not. Let's look at all these deals. Okay. All right. So Boston trades Daniel Theis to Chicago in a 3-team deal. Boston got Moritz Wagner, Luke Cornett. Washington got Daniel Gifford, Chandler Hutchinson. Interesting. Chicago gave up on Hutchinson already. Chicago gets Daniel Theis, Troy Brown, Javonte Green, Cash. That's news. That's not newsworthy, so we're gonna skip that one. Seems like Boston's just trying to get assets and cash, and I'll echo the same sentiment that Colin Cowherd said. Boston, you can get all the accolades, you can get all the cash, you can get all the liquid units, you can get all the draft picks, all the capital. You're not going to win a championship with getting the first round pick of 2025. You've got to get a big man, and you got to hope that Brown and Tatum develop into superstars. How about this? Dallas got J.J. Redick. Dallas gets J.J. Redick for Nicolo Melli. Oh, sorry. Dallas gets J.J. Redick, Nicolo Melli, and New Orleans gets James Johnson. Thought he was on Minnesota. He's on Dallas. Okay. New Orleans gets James Johnson in a second round pick of 2021 in cash. This is basically J.J. Redick to the Mavs. I like this pick. The Mavericks, though, their weakness is defense. Luka's not playing any defense. Porzingis is always hurt. Hardaway, I like Hardaway, but Hardaway can only give you so much. I like Powell as well. J.J. Redick is a guy who will give him shooters. I still think in the West, it's the Clippers, the Lakers, if they're healthy. Lakers, if they're healthy. And that's really it. I think the Jazz are not there. They can win all the games they want. I still think it's the Clippers or the Lakers. But the Mavericks get better with J.J. Redick. They get some shooting, something that was a need for Dallas. Miami gets Victor Oladipo. Houston got Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and a 2022 swap rights Nets pick. Basically, Victor Oladipo in Miami for Avery Bradley in Houston and Kelly Olynyk. Wow, Avery Bradley got traded from Miami. That is crazy, but I love this pick. I love this for Houston. I love this for Miami. They're also in talks of getting LaMarcus Aldridge. If they can get LaMarcus Aldridge, this is a team that can get back and repeat as Eastern Conference champions. I like this pick. I like this trade. Victor Oladipo is a very, very good player. He's an all-star type guy in the East. He's a guy who can easily give you 20 a night. You need Jimmy Butler to take some days off, take some breaks off. You're seeing it already in the regular season already. He's 33, 34 years old. People think he's young. He's not young. He's older, and his body's breaking down. I don't think he has another finals run in him, so it's very important that they do get some reinforcements. And if Miami can get LaMarcus Aldridge as well, that is, to me, a team that can go back-to-back as Eastern Conference champions. I love that trade. Kyle Lowry was not traded at the deadline. That was a rumor. A lot of it had to do with the fact that they gave Fred VanVleet a nice, tasty, nice max deal. They didn't want to overpay. They didn't want to have two undersized point guards on a max deal. They wanted to keep one of them. They didn't trade Kyle Lowry, and I think one of the reasons why, not only did they not get enough, but I think the point is Toronto's in a tough spot right now where they're not bad enough to tank for Cade Cunningham, but they're not good enough to win a championship because I do think they need a closer. I don't think Pascal Siakam can be your number one guy and lead you to a championship. They need a top star. They don't have that. But if you trade Kyle Lowry, I don't think you're going to get enough pleasing in return. You're going to trade him to a contender. That contender is going to give you a late round pick, first round picks that are going to be late first rounders, late second rounders years from now. Toronto, to me, is in a position where I think they should ride it out for the remainder of the season and see where they go. If we take a look at the Eastern Conference standings, I pull up Firefly. Is it Firefly? I pulled up Safari. Let me pull up Google Chrome because Google Chrome is better. Let's go on the NBA standings. I could go on the app on my phone. We'll go on the NBA standings. We look at the East. Look at the Knicks. Number 5 is the New York Knicks. Wow, what a blessing! What a blessing! Toronto's 11th. They're 18-26. But because the East is so weak right now, Boston's the AC 21-23, and Raptors are only 3 games back. So the Raptors are still in it, but they're not a good enough team to win a championship. And the front office, Masai Ujiri, knows that. But I think they're making the right choice by keeping Kyle Lowry. Let's ride out the season and see where we head towards in the postseason. You make the postseason, great. If not, you got the offseason to trade Kyle Lowry. This could be his going away part, his going away season. So Raptors did not. That was the biggest move that I expected him to at least possibly get traded. I thought he was going to get traded. He didn't. So, but that was like the biggest news. As we go here, this was big though. This was humongous. My pick to win the championship this year, if it's not my New York Knicks, showing love to my New York Knicks, 5th in the East, by the way, and we will get to them very shortly. The Clippers picked up Rajon Rondo from the Atlanta Hawks. Now listen, this was something that should have happened last offseason. Why Rajon Rondo got signed to the Hawks for some reason to be the backup to Trae Young was, I don't know. I didn't get it at all. I thought Rondo should have been to the Clippers immediately. He should have signed there, signed a nice cheap 1-year deal. Go ahead and go ring chase Rajon. You deserve it. But they finally got their man. But listen, they instead of getting him for free, which they should have done, the general manager should have done in LA, what Jerry West should have done, they traded Lou Williams, who is a quality scorer, does not play defense, but he's a quality backup scorer, can give you 16, 20, off the bench. And they gave him up to Atlanta, which is a good deal for Atlanta. And in return, they got Rajon Rondo. With Rajon Rondo, you have a playmaker. You have somebody who can take the load off of Paul George when it comes to the playmaking skills off of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard doesn't have to bring up the ball with his huge-ass hands. This is a great deal, great move. And I think the Clippers, if it's not going to be my New York Knicks, if I'm going to have to be honest, the Clippers are already looking like the champions right now. I will put money that the Clippers win their first championship this year. That was a great move. Great move. And Atlanta was a great move for you too. Atlanta looked like a team that was out dead in the water until Nate McMillan showed up and he turned that franchise, that organization around. They look legit, and when you get Lou Williams, a nice backup scorer, he fits that team perfectly. Plus, he's going to enjoy some of the chicken wings there in the city. Now, we get into a 3-team deal. George Hill goes to Philly. Okay, yeah, this is the one I was talking about my New York Knicks. So, it was a 3-team deal with the Sixers, the Knicks, the Thunder. So, Philadelphia gets George Hill, nice backup point guard. New York gets Terence Ferguson, high flyer, young guy with some energy, pacey. And Oklahoma City gets Austin Rivers, Tony Bradley, and 2 second-round picks. Well, Philadelphia They wanted Kyle Lowry. They didn't want to give up all that. Daryl Morey did not want to give up too much for Kyle Lowry. He's 35 years old. This was a nice pick. George Hill's gonna fit in well. They need a point guard because Ben Simmons is not a point guard. He's a small forward. He's a playmaking small forward. He's not a point guard, and he's a great defender. But ultimately, you need a point guard because not only is a point guard responsible for the playmaking, for calling out the plays, you want a point guard who can shoot, who can space out the floor. This was a good move by Philly. I think Philly are the favorites to come out the East. They beat my Knicks too many times. Sorry, the Sixers are the favorites out the East. But I like that move. I think it's great. I look at Terence Ferguson going to New York. I think he's dead weight. I don't think he's going to be used enough. I don't think he's going to be used here, but he's athletic. He's fast. Oh, maybe Tom Thibodeau can use that on the defensive end. Who knows? Oklahoma City, we all know they're rebuilding. They get Austin Rivers. I'm a little bit shocked by this, that New York gave up Austin Rivers. I thought Austin Rivers was a nice fit, nice secondary player, but Austin does not play defense. You don't play defense, you don't see the court with Tom Thibodeau, which one thing I love about him. But that was really interesting to me. But I think Philadelphia with George Hill, it's really going to be Philly or Brooklyn in the East. Norman Powell. Portland gets Norman Powell. I should have done this better, but believe in me. Norman Powell goes to Portland. Gary Trent Jr. goes to Toronto, and Rodney Hood goes to Toronto as well. Norman Powell was a nice backup shooting guard for Toronto. What this really does, I really look at this as Portland just adding depth because CJ McCollum gets injured every 3 weeks. So this is just a nice perimeter player he's a good defender. Something that Portland really needs. This was a good move by Portland. I still don't think Portland has a shot in hell unless Kawhi gets hurt, unless some of the major players get hurt, unless LeBron and AD's injuries catch up to them. I still think Portland don't have a shot of winning the West. But they can win. They can win around. They can win around a couple rounds. Hell, maybe they can get to the conference finals. But I like this move a lot. Okay. How about this one? So, Sacramento trades Nemanja Bjelica, and in return, they get Mo Harkless and Chris Silva from Miami. Miami, they were huge winners in the trading deadline. I might do another video about winners and losers because we want to cut this video as short as possible. But I'm just giving you my raw take on a trade deadline. I think this is a great move for Miami. Bjelica did not want to be in Sacramento Kings. We knew that. Last year he wanted out. They tried to trade him. The Kings wanted out from him. He stayed, so we knew he was on borrowed time. He goes to Miami, a good culture for him. I think he's going to fit well with his play style. He's a very underrated talent. Sacramento is not a team that can develop. Miami is. This was a great move by Miami. You have Oladipo, Bjelica, and if they can get Aldridge, they can win the East. It's going to be a 3-team race. Already, I like Miami right now. My 3 teams that I like in the East, other than the Knicks, if I'm just going to put on my hat and be straight and narrow, Philly, Brooklyn, Miami. Those are the 3 teams that can win the conference championship. And this one was a big one. Denver gets Aaron Gordon, Gary Clark. Oh, no, sorry. No, I thought this was Gary Harris. Excuse me. It's Denver. Denver gets Aaron Gordon, Gary Clark, and Orlando gets Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a first-round pick. So what we do know is Orlando, because, sorry to spoil it, but yes, they did trade Nikola Vucevic, Kendrick Perkins, Vucevic, to Chicago. We will get there in a minute. But Orlando basically saying, we're rebuilding. Cade Cunningham is on the market. I want Cade Cunningham. I don't blame you, brother. Cade Cunningham is a generational star. Orlando, you need to rebuild because there have been so many years when you've been the 8th seed, the 7th seed, the 6th seed, hell, the 5th seed, and it hasn't benefited your favor. They've gone with a hard reset. They're a horrible team this year, even though I think they beat my Knicks a couple times. This was a great decision. They get RJ Hampton. R.J. Hampton, who I think is a tremendous player, uh, he's really struggled early on. Denver has a lot of talented players that need playing time, and they're a team that wants to win now. So they got to get rid of some of these guys. R.J. Hampton goes to Orlando, talented guy. I think he should have went to college instead of Australia because he's struggling with the pace of the game. Gary Harris is a good wing player, but they trade him for Aaron Gordon. I don't know. I think Gary Harris was such a good defender, good three-point shooter. You don't want to give away those 3-and-D guys, but I totally understand. But that's a lot. Giving up Gary Harris in a first-round pick for Aaron Gordon. I like Aaron Gordon a lot. He's going to fit in nicely at the 4. I like Denver, too. I like Denver. Denver, to me, that was a team I think I was missing. Denver, Lakers, Clippers, to me, that's a 3-team race. But it'll be very interesting. We'll dive deeply into that in the next coming days, next coming videos. Evan Fournier goes to Boston. Orlando gets 2 second-round picks. Again, Orlando washing their hands, saying we suck. We want Cade Cunningham. We're going to try and throw our hat in there. Boston gets Evan Fournier. They get a shooter. They need a rim protector. This is not going to do much for them. I already like their guards. That Peyton Pritchard kid is pretty good. I like their guards. They kept Marcus Smart. I like your guards. You need a rim protector. Boston's 8th because they don't have a rim protector. Tristan Thompson is not big enough. He's not skilled enough. They need to hit up. LaMarcus Aldridge is not a rim protector by any means, but LaMarcus Aldridge would help. Andre Drummond would be the one that would get you back into Eastern Conference champion territory. Other than that, I think Boston might be a first-round exit this year. There are too many small guys, too much finesse, not enough muscle in the middle. That's cool. I mean, I don't get what Boston's doing, but we move on from there. This one was also a big one here. They're all big, but Orlando gets Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter, 2 first-round picks. Orlando giving a lot of young guys a chance. This is not only a rebuild for now for Mr. Cunningham. This is a rebuild for the next 5 years. We're going young, and we're seeing how good we can go. Chicago gets Nikola Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu. Chicago's not doing anything this year, but Vucevic is a nice guy who's a nice big man. Doesn't play that great of defense. Zach LaVine, who I'm not really that crazy about, talented guy, but he doesn't play that much defense. Chicago just wants to make the playoffs. I think Reinsdorf is basically telling them, listen, I don't want to suck anymore. I'm getting too old. I want a competitive team. I don't care if it's a first-round exit. I just want a competitive team. And that's really what it goes down to. JaVale McGee goes to Denver. By the way, I'm on NBCSports.com. So if you recognize the order, that's where it's from. You probably don't. JaVale McGee goes to Denver. Cleveland gets Isaiah Hartenstein, a second-round pick, and an unprotected second-round pick. So one was protected, the other one's not. Basically, JaVale McGee to Denver gives him a rim protector, gives him a guy who can rough up some of the Clippers players, some of the Lakers players. Denver went crazy this year. They went crazy in the trade deadline. It's a 3-team race. I'm putting Denver with the Lakers and the Clippers. They said Lonzo was going to get traded. Lonzo was not traded. And then we have Detroit gets Corey Joseph, a second-round pick from the Lakers. And Detroit's second-round pick, they get their second-round pick back, and Sacramento gets DeLon Wright. Both teams suck. Not interesting. And I believe that is it for the trade deadline. I will be doing my winners and losers very shortly, but thank you for watching this video. Quickly, I will tell you this, though. Denver, I'm forgetting the team, but Denver and Miami, there we go. Denver and Miami, they did well. Boston, the jury's still out on you. And I think Orlando, to me, is a winner. Orlando's a winner. But we will talk about that next video. I might cut that one out. But thank you for watching the video. Subscribe if you're new. I got more. See ya.